Hello friends, welcome to the first Buzzword reading vlog for 2026. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Steph. This is the novelty corner because I clearly can't remember how to do my intros correctly. And I've had a weird first couple of days of January where basically I'm stuck in that holiday mode where motivation to do the things I need to do is extremely low, whereas motivation to just literally sit on the couch and come to a few hours later having no concept of what I've done is very high. I've done a lot of reading, which is fine because honestly I need this time to just sort of mentally reset myself. I am getting back into doing things in the coming week, so it is currently the 4th of January and I've been told I'm helping to babysit tomorrow, and then I have plans on Tuesday to go and see an exhibit in Melbourne, which hopefully I will get some footage of and include in this vlog for you. So I have things planned, but at the moment I am I hate to use the word brain rot because I just hate it, but that's basically what is happening. We're here for the Buzzword reading vlog. I have picked out my books. In fact, I've picked out most of the books for the rest of the year as long as I don't read them before then. Like they're pretty much, I've got things picked out for everything. And just like last year, I'm going to read a book for the Buzzword title prompt as well as the cover challenge prompt. And then I will also hopefully give you some recommendations for some other books, it'll be between 3 and 5 recommendations. So for January, the title prompt is before and after. I'm hoping that I'm going to read Grumpily Ever After by Teagan Hunter, which is an e-arc that I have. It comes out on January 20th, so this vlog will come out a little bit beforehand. I've had the arc for a while. I would like to get to it sooner rather than later, so reading it in this vlog is perfect because it fits the prompt. And then January's cover challenge is to read a book that has internal body parts on the front cover. So bones, organs, etc. Like blood I think counts for it as well. I'm planning on reading All Shall Mourn by Ellie Marney. Yes, I do have a Kobo. I don't think I've really talked very much about it. I think it's appeared in a couple of videos, but I did buy one last year, and one of my goals is to try and move my ebooks that are not Kindle Unlimited to my Kobo. So if I'm purchasing, or also I can, you know, connect to Overdrive on here, which makes a huge amount of difference if I want to borrow ebooks. So I am trying to at least check to see if they're on Overdrive and I can get a hold on them on this first, because I know I can read on my phone. I do read on my phone. I don't like reading on my phone. It's just a personal preference. I've never liked reading on my phone. I have tried it. I can do it when I have nothing else with me. That's fine. I do prefer to have this or my Paperwhite to read on. I prefer them. So now I have one of each. Those are the 2 books I'm planning on reading. I'm hopefully going to read All Shall Mourn today. Like that's my plan, is to read that, which is a young adult Australian title. It is a historical thriller. It's about a teenage serial killer. It's the 3rd book in a series. I've read and loved the series. It's been a while since the 2nd book came out. The first 2 books were traditionally published, and I believe Ellie Marney has self-published the 3rd book. I'm looking forward to getting to that, and yeah, we'll see what else I am managed to include in this vlog. I am 17% of the way through All Shall Mourn, which I realised I didn't actually talk much about the plot of the story before I started it. So I thought I'd take a break here now because it is 5:30 and I need to start getting some dinner ready, because I've also realised I haven't eaten lunch today. That's the kind of day I'm having. All Shall Mourn, so it's the 3rd book in the None Shall Sleep series, which is a series of YA thrillers that are set in the 1980s between an FBI agent working in behavioural science, and that's Travis, and also Emma, who was brought in on a case where they were interviewing a teenage serial killer, a sociopath called Simon. And Simon was in prison, but there were a series of murders and they thought that Simon could give some input into it. And essentially in the first 2 books, it is a cat and mouse game between Simon and specifically Emma, who has a history of being involved with serial killers. I think she was held captive by one, from memory. It's been a while since I read the original couple of books. There is a very intense connection between Simon and Emma, but there's also a relationship between Emma and Travis by the time we get to this 3rd book. At the end of the 2nd book, Simon and his twin sister, Kristen, had escaped, and Travis was nearly killed. Emma was severely injured, and so at the start of this book We start off with Simon and Kristen in Morocco, no extradition, and Emma visiting Travis after a number of months because it took quite a while for him to heal. And then Emma and Travis are both approached by the FBI because they're trying to lure Simon back to the US. And Simon is very, very intelligent, and he has already picked up on the fact that the information that the FBI have leaked to the media, dropping Emma's name, realized he knows that it's a trap. So we're dipping in and out of sort of two parallel storylines that are taking place at the same time. Kristen and Simon's relationship is really interesting. They're twins. That it's a very codependent, incesty kind of relationship. So I'm kind of intrigued to see where that goes. And yeah, like I'm very invested in the story. I only started at about 5 o'clock, and I don't think it tells me what page I'm on. Well, I'm on chapter 7, so I'm 17% of the way in. So it's reading very quickly. So even though I may not necessarily remember the minute details of the first 2 books, like I remember the broad strokes of it, and it's going to be very interesting read. So I'm going to make myself some dinner so that I don't get hangry, which is a possibility, and then I'm going to continue reading. Alright, so I finished All Shall Mourn by Ellie Marney. What a conclusion. What a conclusion to the series. So I think earlier I gave you the basic setup for the book, and basically it continues. You have Travis and Emma, they're trying to track down Simon and his twin sister Kristen, and we learn a lot more about Simon and Kristen's relationship dynamic, sort of the family history, why Kristen is the way that she is, because she, well actually I don't really want to say what's going on with her because it's kind of a major plot point. Like one of the really big plot points in here, sorry if you can hear the cars outside, I have to have the window open because it's very warm. Okay, the traffic lights have changed. Travis and Emma are both 19 and 20, or both 19 or something like that. They were training at Quantico. So that's how they got involved in this whole thing. Emma is the survivor of a serial killer and has been called on to consult in a number of ways because she has close personal experience with a serial killer. They're both brought back in by the FBI to track down Simon, who has escaped. And they're both recovering from their last encounter with him. What they keep telling the agents in charge is, do not underestimate him. He is one step ahead of you. He is going to continue to be one step ahead of you, and he is. Simon is a very intelligent person who is very driven, ironically, by his passion, and the FBI try to track him down. They slowly realize that everything that Emma and Travis have told them is correct. Like Simon is always one step ahead. It ends up with a number of people dead in very violent, very gruesome ways. So if you are at all worried about blood, gore, or violence in a YA book, do not read this because it's very gory. But it's so well done. It's done in such a really creepy psych thriller kind of way. Alongside this, you also have Travis and Emma's developing relationship, and the entire series, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, takes place in 1982. So it's technically a historical fiction, which is really depressing. They've had this developing relationship from book 1 through to now, and that comes also full circle in this book. Yeah, like the stakes are high. It's really well done. Really enjoyed it. Ellie Marney does have another book that's coming out in a couple of months with a main character named Simon, and pretty sure it's connected to this. And if you read the book, you know. So I'm very excited to get to that because it seems like it's going to be an offshoot. I don't think Travis and Emma may be in it, but they're not mentioned at all in the blurb for that book. So I'm excited. I will be reading that when it comes out. As for recommendations, so it was body parts, internal body parts. Could include bones, blood, organs, etc. I read a lot of contemporary romance. You don't get a lot of that on covers, and I'm being a little bit lazy. So I'm actually going to give you 3 YA recommendations because this was a YA book. And you guys know that I don't read a lot of YA anymore, so these are YA books that I love. I would be incredibly remiss after reading All Shall Mourn if I did not recommend None Shall Sleep, which has a lovely lot of blood on the front cover, and Simon on the front. So this is where the story takes place. It starts in 1982. Simon is a serial killer who has been arrested, and Travis and Emma are called in to consult with him because there is another killer on the loose and they want the insights of a serial killer to catch the new killer. It is a phenomenal YA psych thriller. So I would start here. Then if you want something more paranormal-ish, Gap Year in Ghost Town by Michael Pryor. I haven't talked about this in a while. I should reread this in October. It is a really fun ghost hunting story set in Melbourne. In this world, there are people who have the ghost sight who can actually see ghosts, and there are certain organizations, either big organizations or small family organizations, that hunt ghosts in towns and keep people safe. And our main character, Anton, is one of those people. This is a really fun romp through Melbourne ghost hunting. Like it's done with the insider knowledge of someone who knows a lot about Melbourne history, and I love that. And then there is Deep is the Fen by Lili Wilkinson. So not only are you getting YA recommendations from me, oh, I should say there are skulls everywhere on this book. Not only are you getting YA recommendations, you're getting Australian YA recommendations. Who even am I? While this is not a human internal thing, it is the bones of a frog, so we're going with it. This is very much a feminist YA fantasy or paranormal fantasy story. It's about Merryweather. She lives in a town. This town has a secret society that only allows men, the Toadmen, and Merryweather is not really okay with this. And when her best friend is set to join the Toadmen, she really takes issue with this because she doesn't believe anything good is going to come of it. And so she has to team up with someone that is not really a friend or an ally of hers in order to try and keep her best friend safe. This also means that she finds herself involved in some very supernatural goings on. It's great. Anything Lili Wilkinson writes is amazing. Her YA though is incredible. All three of these authors, Lili Wilkinson, Ellie, Marney, Michael Pryor, they're all the YA authors that I would hand to a YA reader now. On that note, I'm going to go do the dishes and get ready for bed, and I will be back sometime later this week to read Grumpily Ever After. Good morning, everyone. It's been a couple of days. You would have seen footage from the balloon story Melbourne exhibit that I went to yesterday. I meant to have more updates, except I ended up staying at my parents' place on Monday to help look after my nieces. And a 2-year-old and a 2-month-old are a fun experience. I'm glad I'm the auntie. I take my hat off to my sister. I came home yesterday afternoon, on Tuesday afternoon, extremely overstimulated. So could not be me. But it is Wednesday morning. I have a yogurt bowl, which you can't see the yogurt, it's in the middle. This bowl was too big for this. Anyway, it's clear, you can see what's in it. Greek yogurt, raspberries, mango, and my Christmas granola that I haven't been eating, so I should eat it. It's supposed to be 42 degrees Celsius here today, which is close to 108, 109 degrees Fahrenheit, I think. It's just after 8 o'clock, or it's 8:15. I have to go to the post office to pick up some mail. The post office doesn't open until 9 o'clock, so I'm gonna eat, maybe watch some YouTube. I've got laundry on, I'm gonna pick up my mail, and then I'm not leaving my apartment for the next 3 days. But I will be reading Grumpily Ever After later this afternoon. I have something else I have to read this morning. Today's just a read and sit in front of the air conditioner kind of deal, and maybe do a little bit of food prep and tidy up the fridge a little bit. At least that'll be cool. But for now, I'm gonna eat my breakfast, so happy Wednesday. It is after 3 o'clock in the afternoon now. I have started Grumpily Ever After reading a book this morning that was a 6-star read for me. So I've got high hopes for Grumpily Ever After. I don't know if it's going to quite live up to the book this morning, which when I talk about it in my wrap up next week, you'll possibly understand why. But Grumpily Ever After is a contemporary romance about an ex-NHL player who's opened or has bought a farm and a cidery with his best friend, and his sister has basically begged / convinced him to let her use the property for her wedding. And her best friend is the wedding planner, and she has always had a crush on him. He is attracted to her. His hesitation is there's a 12-year age gap between them. He's 38, she's 26. So I'm only a couple of chapters in. They've just convinced him to let them use the property, and I think there's going to be some snarky banter going on. It is currently over 40 degrees here. I've got the air conditioner going pretty much, well, it's been on low all day, and I don't have it up on high for anything. I've done a little bit of taking the bins and things out, but it is really unpleasant outside. I've been trying to do some laundry, like quilt covers and sheets and things like that, things that are going to dry far quicker in this heat. So the quilt cover, that's already dried. I've just done a load of sheets because I don't have a clothesline, so I have to put them on clothes horses. So it's a little bit tricky, so I'll have to go out in a little bit and sort of refold them so that everything dries properly. I just made myself a snack. This is what is left of my pear. I'm about to finish eating it. I'm drinking ginger ale, and yeah, we're gonna keep going with this book. Hello everyone, I'm here to wrap up this vlog because I finished Grumpily Ever After a couple of hours ago, but I had to sit and wait for my nausea medication to kick in before I could film because that's just what I needed today. I'm okay. I just needed the medication to kick in. Anyway, I enjoyed Grumpily Ever After. I think it was a little bit inconsistent. I believe this is being traditionally published through Montlake for Teagan Hunter, and there are so many things in this book that I love from her writing, and then there are just little things that annoy me, that if they're in any romance book, they annoy me. So I think I gave you the basic premise that it's a sibling's best friend. He's a grumpy ex-NHL player who now owns a farm and cidery, and she is his sister's best friend. His sister is getting married. The main character, Odette, is a wedding planner. She's had a string of bad luck. Her reputation is on the line, and basically they've convinced Noah to open up his cidery and farm for wedding functions, with his sister's wedding being the first thing that they organise. I suppose the first thing that I found frustrating is that Odette initially she's the kind of female protagonist who is unsure of herself and trying to, she believes her family is cursed in love, and also her business is cursed, and so she's trying desperately to do everything to fix that, but also playing into some of those I'm helpless but I'm not going to be helpless, so I'm going to overplay certain things that I'm doing kind of hand, which is not my favorite thing, just because I think you're trying to play two characters off one another, and we all know that my favorite thing is competent characters. They can be grumpy sunshine and hate each other and fall for one another and still be incredibly competent. Gloves Off by Stephanie Archer is a perfect example of that, of two characters who are basically equals. I don't like it when there is a equality imbalance. That's it. Like, we do get there, and we do see that a lot of Odette's insecurities and things like that are things that she's working on overcoming. And Noah is, for the most part, a really solid character. He is trying to ignore his attraction to Odette that he's had for a while. Eventually they end up having a secret relationship that's kind of something they want to keep on the down low because they're not sure about how his sister is going to react, and they're working on upgrading the farm and getting all the wedding plans ready, etc. There is a subplot in here about his sister's ex being a trash bag. The first time you meet him on page, you know straight away exactly what's going to happen. And that's the thing, like I've talked about this before, with traditional published romances, sometimes well, more often than not, I find that it's more of a predictable storyline, which I would like to not have cheating plots, even if they're a subplot of the story. It's not my thing to read about. But the kind of resolution of what happens with all the planned wedding stuff and all that, like, I liked that. And there's a lovely grand gesture involved in that scene. So yeah, look, a solid read. Not my favorite Teagan Hunter, but not my worst Teagan Hunter, so that's always a good thing. And I did get an e-arc of that from NetGalley. In terms of some other recommendations for titles that have before or after in the title, let's go with Before first. There is Before Girl by Kate Canterbury. This is a contemporary romance. It is between oh gosh, she's a sports publicist and he is a cardiothoracic surgeon, and it is fun, it is steamy, it is a very easy read. I haven't read it in a while, but this was one of the first Kate Canterbury books that I remember reading. So I can't remember if I read it before The Worst Guy or not, but I know this is theoretically first in that timeline. It's fun, it's enjoyable, it has before in the title. Then in terms of after, since we did a contemporary romance, let's do another contemporary romance. After the Siren by Darcy Green. If I can make even one more person pick up this book, I will. This is a queer AFL romance and it centers queer joy. It also has the queer penguin logo on it, which it's the first book in Australia that has that logo on it, which is amazing. Darcy is a non-binary author here in Melbourne. I love this book. It is just so joyful. I don't even like AFL. AFL is the biggest sport here where I live in Melbourne. It's the Australian Football League, but it doesn't matter. This book is fabulous. Like if you like heated rivalry, if you like any kind of sports romance, you pick this one up because it's just fun. There is a tiny little bit of rivalry in here, but it doesn't last long, and that's not the point. The point is queer joy, and this has it in spades. And then finally, a paranormal romance. We have Dragon Ever After by Louisa Masters. This is a spin-off of the Hidden Species series, which is the first collection of books, which I reread at the end of last year, so I've talked a bit about these. Dragon Ever After follows the former community of species leader Percy, who has, you know, no longer has that job for reasons. You have to read the first series to understand why, and it's kind of a bit complicated to go through in a really short recommendation like this. Basically, he's retired and he's having to figure out what to do with his life. And he is a village shifter, and he falls for Brant, who is the wing leader of the dragons. And the dragons were introduced at the end of the previous series. So this is the first series where we get to know all of the dragons, all of the different members of the group. And it's so much fun. And now that I'm talking about it, this is the thing with me this year. Now that I'm just mood reading my way through 2026, or that's the plan, I just want to start rereading this series. I have other things that I would like to read, but now I'm seriously considering bumping this up the list. All right, and that is it for the first Buzzword reading vlog for 2026. In the comments, I'd love to know, have you read any of these books? Are you planning on picking any of them up? Or are you participating in the Buzzword reading challenge, and what are your book picks for the prompts that you are choosing to participate in? If you want to let me know that you're here but you don't leave a comment, let's go with leave a knife emoji in the comments for All Shall Mourn. I'm really pleased that I got to that book and that I have rounded out that first set of series, and I can't wait for the next book with Simon to be released. Now I'm excited. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video, which will be the next weekly wrap up. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.